Hello and welcome. This is a short yoga session for you to do in about 20 minutes. And we're really going to focus on moving with our breath, just getting a nice gentle start to your day. Okay, so today we're going to come and do a seated position. And if it's comfortable for your knees, we're going to find Virasana. So Virasana, hero pose. Your knees bent. Now by all means find a cushion to sit on. You don't need to sit on your heels. You can raise your sit bones, maybe by sitting on one or two of your blocks. Or if the knees do allow and you're comfortable enough to let the heels come out to the side of your thighs, then by all means you can come to full hero pose. So whichever variation is going to work for you just for the next few minutes as we start the class. So once you've found that comfortable seat, let's take a moment or two to close down the eyes. Just close off anything that's happening around you. Maybe just starting to come into your yoga space. You have found and made this space for yourself today, whether that means moving out a little bit of furniture or just moving out people and animals. So let's just take this time to all take a breath in through the nose. And let that breath go. Let's do it again and notice what's happening with our shoulders. So inhaling through the nose. Let those shoulders relax as you exhale. One more. This time we're really going to sigh that breath out. Inhale through the nose. Lovely. Let's start to do some head rolls. So we're going to let that head drop to the right shoulder. Slowly let it drop to your chin. Start to take it around to the left shoulder. You can keep your eyes closed for a moment or two here. Start to make arcs with your head. So we're gently just making a semicircle from your right to your left ear. Continue with your lovely full breath. You might even want to imagine your inhale lasts the whole of one semicircle and the exhale lasts the other semicircle. So a nice, slow, gentle rhythm. Let's take the chin to the chest. Take the nose to center. Let's follow it with the arms up and overhead. Look up towards your fingertips. Press your hands, your fingertips together. Reach your fingertips up to the sky. Big breath in. Turn your palms the other way and exhale. So we're really pressing the air down. A little bit of resistance as your fingertips touch the mat. Turn your fingertips face up. Inhale. Reach, look up towards your fingers. Exhale, push that air away. So it's a little bit like we're swimming through the air here. Inhale, reach. Exhale, really empty the lungs as you exhale. Squeeze all the air out. Good. Both fingertips on the mat. If you're comfortable staying in your Virasana, then do so. If your knees are feeling a little bit uncomfortable, then just change your seated position now. Reach one arm up and overhead and exhale as we reach that arm over, looking towards and underneath that raised armpit. Good. Inhale, raise that one. We're going to go on to the other side. So a nice flowing lateral bend here. Using that breath to inhale and lift the arm. Exhale, sink a little bit lower. Can we draw this elbow down towards the mat? Inhale, raise the hand. Exhale, can you draw the opposite elbow down towards the mat? Don't worry if it doesn't reach the mat. So we'll do one more each side. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale, reach up and overhead. And exhale, reach that elbow down to the mat. And this time as we take our arms up and overhead, interlace the fingers, turn the palms to face up. And as we reach, roll your shoulders back and down and send your chest Think about sending your chest forwards and up. So as you press your palms up, your chest is following in that direction. Don't hold the breath. And then as we exhale, we're going to swim the hands behind us. If you've got enough room, squeeze your shoulder blades together. So we're continuing with the chest action. Your clavicle, your collarbone is up, shoulders down. And then slowly, as we exhale, let's make our way around into all fours. So take your time, particularly if you've been on your knees for a little while. You might want to just find a little release here. Maybe swinging those hips just from side to side to find that release. So find your comfortable horse stance. So all fours, pressing the hands, pressing down into the shins and the tops of the feet. So first of all, don't just rest all your body weight on the hands. See if you can notice that the weight on the backs of the legs is not just from the knees, but it's pressing down at all those points of contact with the mat. So you might need to take a little bit of time to do this. I'm going to creep forwards actually to make sure I've got enough room behind me. And then slide your front leg back. So it doesn't matter which leg you're starting with. Let's slide one leg back. Tuck those toes and press the heel away. So we're going to do a little rocking motion. So sink the heel back. You'll feel a stretch your hamstring, your calf muscles, and then rock forwards, which will take the weight into the shoulders. So this is giving you a little indication as to how the shoulders and the wrists might be feeling, and how our ankles, calves and hamstrings are feeling. Keep pressing the mat away. You want to keep that nice integrity of the shoulders and strong core muscles so that we're not dropping that belly down. Good. Now staying where you are, we're going to pick the back leg up, rotate it 90 degrees and start to come around into our gate pose. So we're stacking the hips, we're starting to stack those shoulders, take that top arm overhead, reach the fingers up. Now your bottom foot is placed on the mat with the toes facing towards the long side of your mat. Inhale, reach up, and as we exhale, turn your top palm down towards the earth and reach it overhead. Now if this is too much on your side waist, this might be too big a stretch, keep your arms just stacked. We can keep them stacked, that's absolutely fine. So reaching up and overhead, you can look down for balance to that bottom hand, you can look straight ahead, or you can look under your armpit, whatever feels good for you. Keep reaching that top finger away from the bottom feet. Keep reaching and breathing. Good. Now as we exhale, we're going to drop that top hand now behind the back, so it's just resting there, or you can rest it on your thigh, whatever feels good. We're going to raise that back leg and do some little pumps with that back leg. So we do this quite a lot on all fours, but we're doing it in a side plank. So quite small pumps. Think about the leg being really strong and long, and all this movement is coming from the glute muscles, and your thigh, your hip is doing a lot of work, your pelvis is nice and stable. So let's just do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, and then we'll take that top hand down, swivel back so you're back where you were, tuck the toes of your back leg, keep that raised leg as it is, pressing the hands into the earth. Can we lift that knee and take ourselves into three-legged dog? That's a big move, so don't worry if you need a little bit of help getting there. And don't worry how high that three-legged dog is. We don't need to have the leg terribly high. Big breath in and exhale. Bring that top leg down and start to find your first down dog. So we've done quite a bit on one side. Just pressing into the hands, starting to let the heels sink towards the back of the mat. Sending that chest down. Feeling a nice openness in the shoulders. And a nice even and steady breath. pause here, just connect once again into your breath. Look towards your hands, come high onto the toes, and really slowly we're going to start to bend the knees as we shift the body weight forwards. And we're going to find that hover just for a moment, so those knees grazing off the mat as we keep pushing away from the mat, feeling our core nice and strong. Then lower the knees, bring those big toes together and wiggle your knees as wide as your mat before sending the hips back, reaching forwards into your child's pose. So extended child's pose now. Big breath here, and as you exhale, let that forehead come to the mat. So just let everything soften. Use this time not only to connect back into your breath, but just to give you a chance to observe how it felt on that side. When you're ready, we're going to roll up into all fours once again. Just find that nice length in the spine. Find your center before you start to lengthen the other leg out. Reaching the heel first of all, so just sinking that heel back, and we're going to do that rocking motion. So what we're really doing here is just checking in once again with the other ankle, the calf, the thigh muscles, shoulders and wrists again, although we've done a little bit of work on that already. Keeping the leg nice and long. Good. And then we'll find our gate pose. So lift the back calf and swivel it 90 degrees, placing down the back foot, raising the arm up and overhead, and seeing if we can find that stacking. So ideally looking to gently push your hips forward. This will help you to align and draw back that top shoulder. Big breath, reach those fingertips up and overhead, and if you want a little bit more, turn your palm to face down and start to reach it straight ahead. Inhale, reach those fingertips away from the toes, pressing all the time into the shin of your bottom foot and the front of that foot. Just connect to the breath here. Feeling nice and stable. On your next exhale, we can draw that top hand either down onto the thigh, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can just let it drop down the back. I quite like to do that. And then we're going to raise the back leg, keeping nice and stable. So if you feel wobbly, just look down to that top hand and let's find those little pumps. So not a huge movement, but really pointing the toes might help you to direct this movement from the glutes. So we're quite focused. Let's just do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Big breath in. And as we exhale, we can bring the hand back. We're going to come back and swivel your bottom calf around. Tuck the toes, because we're going to do that big move into three-legged dog. Pressing into the toes, pressing into the hands. Reach that back leg up. Start to make your way into your three-legged dog. Big breath here. Slowly, really slow. Let's bring that back leg down and find downward facing dog. So take your time just to check in with your hands, your feet. How does everything feel? How is your breath working with your movement? Slow everything down a little. And then looking towards the fingers, we're going to come onto the toes, Bend your knees and very, very slowly, we're going to make our way into that hover once again. And once you get there, push the mat away. Make sure we're feeling really strong in the core. Let the knees gently come down. Let's untuck the toes. Bring the big toes together. Bring your legs, knees nice and wide. And once again, let's come into extended child's pose. So sending your chest down. By all means, let your forehead rest either on the mat, or if it's comfortable for you, start to look up towards the top of your mat. Just noticing the rhythm of your breath. And as your forearms stay on the mat, you can slide them forwards. Just bring your knees in so that they're underneath your hips, and then squaring your hips and shoulders, and then we can start to let the hips come down. We're going to make our way into Sphinx pose. So any adjustments you need to make, you might need to just bring your shoulders a little closer if you can, ideally underneath the shoulders, but don't worry if they're a little wider. Spreading the fingers, just dial your thumbs inwards and see if you can press into the palms of your hands, keeping that chin slightly tucked so that we can feel an extension through the back of the neck. Maybe we can feel a small lift of the elbows. They don't need to physically lift off the mat. We can just feel that strength in the shoulders whilst they're moving away from the ears. So just be mindful that we're not dropping the chest. So with each breath, you can explore how your back is feeling. If it feels okay, we can start to lengthen through the arms. Otherwise, just work with your breath. So maybe taking yourself back down to your forearms for a moment or two, and then exploring that range of movement through the mid-spine. So don't rush this. Don't be in a rush to kind of fully extend the elbows. It's by no means the object of this exercise. We just want to explore the range of movement in the back and what feels good. So everybody come down onto your forearms. We're going to move now into puppy pose. So lifting up the hips, keeping the hips nice and high. Now moving into puppy. So very similar to our extended child's pose, but we're keeping the hips nice and high. Feel the chest come down, nice stretch through the spine. And then slowly start to draw your hands back. We're going to come back to horse stance and start our thread the needle. So release the right hand up, stretch it up into the ceiling and threading it underneath the left. Keeping the hips high, just as we did in puppy pose. Start to reach the back of your right shoulder, your lower shoulder down towards the mat. And you can reach your top arm up and overhead, or you can reach it behind the back, whatever feels good for you today. So just work that right shoulder under. And if you need to pop your right shoulder onto a block or a cushion or something to give it a little bit more support, by all means, you can do that now. Inhale, use your bottom hand to push yourself back to all fours. Take a full breath in here before we move to the other side. Good, let's release the other hand up and overhead, left hand for me, and start to thread that through. So finding it on the other side. So a little tip is to turn the palm of your hand that you're threading through up towards the ceiling to allow that to drop down. Another breath here. Use that top hand to come back to center. Take a big breath here. Bring your hands forwards. Shift your weight into your half plank and slowly allow the body to come all the way to the mat. Just allowing everything to settle down onto the mat. Place your right and your left palm on top of each other. Place the side of your head onto your hands. And take a breath or two here. And we're going to close this short class just on our tummies. We don't often do this, always end in Shavasana on our backs. But this is an alternative way to just relax. You might want to add another session onto this, or you might want to move on to the rest of your day. But I would encourage you just to spend a moment or two with your eyes closed, connecting back into your breath. Just reflecting on your practice and how you feel. When you are ready to move on, just draw your hands under your shoulders, slowly pressing the body back up. See if you can do this nice and gently. Maybe coming back into your hero pose where we started. Feeling that lift in the crown of the head, the weight of your shoulders gently dropping down, bringing your palms to your heart center and thanking yourself for the time that you've made today. Thank you. Namaste.